Welcome to the two grumpy men, C Grooms and Bobby May in the building.
What it do? What's going on, everybody, on this Wednesday?
Word. Shout out to all the supporters out there. We appreciate it. You know, picking up merch, twogrumpymen.com, you know, the ebooks, the merch. Eventually, you know, we want to see some of y'all, you know, come over to the Patreon page. It's going to be real deep over there. It's a lot of education going on, or edumacation. But let's just go, brother, because it's a lot to touch on. We don't never have enough hours for all of the stuff that's going on. So, yeah, that's the facts. So let's before we get into sports real quick, let's Kamala Harris officially got the nod, the Democratic National Convention yesterday. We saw the TV show. You know, everybody, they got a program. You know, people come on there. It was virtual. So instead of seeing the speeches, you were seeing people on Zoom or whatever platform they were using. And did you see AOC's comment, you know, where she basically, you know, congratulated, you know, Bernie Sanders for the delegates that he did win, which is kind of a formality. But, you know, the nominee was going to be, you know, Biden, you know, which we called this a long time ago because we knew that Bernie Sanders was going to drop out. I mean, that's what he does. Like, he riles up the base and, you know, then he drops out. But I think what made him really drop out is he got confronted, you know, when he got asked about reparations and he was, you know, stuttering, him and Hahn, you know, and, you know, I mean, that's the reality. Like, once you ask a hard question, you know, nobody up there is going to say, yeah, I got something for black people, you know, specifically for them. You know, like they're not a group of people in themselves. You know, all the special interest groups got something, you know, like they just did, you know, under Obama and going forward. So if you asking for something specific about black people, people start hemming and hawing. Like, what's that really about? Like, it's crazy.
So it's an unwritten code, son. That's obvious.
The code, right?
Like,
so
it's an unwritten code. Like, that's something that's not on the table. That's something that you cannot promise that, because based on what is said in the Constitution.
Damn. So they taking it there. So if they go, well, they have to take it there because you're talking about legalities. So if you can't do anything for black people, then, you know, maybe it should just be reworded. You know, I guess people would have to reclassify themselves, you know, based on nationality. And it comes to circular argument because now, you know, nationality is about where you're from. So if you got a bunch of black people, quote unquote, you know, but they come from different, you know, countries and they're here, you know, how can you pay them reparations? You know, you might have already paid a particular country reparations. Anybody from any country that has been.
What black country's been paid reparations?
None. But I'm just saying. I'm using that as an example. I'm just, you know, well, hold on. No, or how about Haiti? I mean, Haiti, you know, well, they didn't get reparations.
Haiti hasn't got shit. France is sucking them dry with America.
Right.
Haiti ain't getting shit, but their country getting sucked dry. So, I mean,
so that's deeper than what we talking about then, because you're saying no black country got reparations. No, you know, when we say black, you know, people should understand what we're talking about now. But
now, I can't. As far as I know, they've never, you know, it's never been no reparation paid to any of these countries that's been exploited, but from Europeans, Americans, whatever. I can't remember them getting any reparations for nothing. They may settle a lawsuit here and there, but they ain't said it all out right. Like, you know, they haven't given that like how they did like how they've done other nationalities. You
But
know.
what about the Indians? Are they black? No, right?
Well, they don't consider them black. They consider them red.
They consider them red.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they consider them
Are they
red.
in the Constitution?
I couldn't. I wouldn't. I won't know why. I couldn't tell you in the Constitution. I doubt it though.
I mean, they basically, you know, we took over your land. We, you know,
they looked
we
at
gonna
them
give you
as savages also.
They did. They did. Definitely did. You know, they also used them, you know, to help push their agenda of moving westward. You know, so okay, so if no black country has gotten reparations, okay, like no specific. Wait, how about Jamaica? Wasn't they fighting Great Britain for some type of freedom? Because remember, there's freedom. Like there's countries that have been free. You know, technically they fought for their freedom against rule.
They free in certain areas, but they still under the Queen's rule.
Under the Queen,
they still have like if you have an issue, you still have to. If you take it to the Supreme Courts.
Or the international court. Yeah, so you
go to England. You gotta go to England.
You gotta go through England. Okay.
Because they still under the rule of the Queen. Like they celebrate 53 years of independence, but it's sort of like you're really not independent because you
kind of like our Juneteenth.
Yeah, so it's sort of like, well, you know, you still got to answer up and kick up. You know what I mean? You still got to answer to somebody. You know, like if they decide, like Jamaica couldn't just go on its own and decide, like, hey, we're gonna be friends with Russia, or we're gonna be friends with Cuba. They couldn't just do that.
Right.
They gotta, you know what I mean? Like that was the whole reason they didn't want in the beginning when Fidel was alive. They didn't want because he had a great relationship with the Jamaican prime ministers that were actually Jamaican.
There you go. The ones that were actually Jamaican.
Then you had the ones that were white, and that was more of a. He was more, you know, his family was Jamaican, but he was white and, you know, American and Jamaican. So it was like, but he was, you know, he was more in bed with America. So it just really depends, you know. Like right now, yeah, they've made deals with China, and you know, a lot of Chinese over there building more hotels and things like that. But you know, these islands and things like that, they're never really free because they're in debt to somebody. You know, you're in debt, they're in debt to somebody, they paying somebody. You paying back, either you kicking up to England, you kicking up to either the Chinese then came in and took over, you kicking up to them, you kicking up to the Dutch. If the Dutch run your country, you kicking up to the French. If they in your country, you know, it's the same. It's just everybody kicking up to somebody. You know, so I mean, so at the end of the day, are you really independent? Are you really free?
Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, damn. You know, when I really thought about it, I said, you know, I know the reparations is usually tied to war. You know what I mean? Like there's really only been two.
That's what I'm saying.
You know?
Like, well, that's what I mean. Are they looking at? Are they looking at us like, you know, we're saying we want reparations on the land, and we want reparations on American soil. And you've made the point that a lot of people don't know what they are. So a lot of people are saying, you know, they're the ones that say that, you know, there's African, they're from slaves of Africa. Then you have those that, like, you know, what you said. Well, if you've been here, if your ancestry been here, like going back 6, 7, 8 generations, you American. So then you have people like that who are saying now they ADOS, they're, you know, American descendants of slaves. I mean, then you have Europeans who blacks who say something different. Then you have Caribbean blacks, and everybody's separated. So how's everybody going? Like everybody's been treated unfairly by
exactly.
Whether it's been European white, American white, wherever, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's been treated. Everybody of color has been treated a certain way. and have been done wrong. So at the end of the day, it doesn't, like, it doesn't help for black people. It doesn't help, and I hate saying that now. I hate saying that black people, but that's basically, you get it. But it's like black people are always divided, so you can't even have a plan. You can't form a plan on one accord to say that this and that, when you have one set of people saying they want this and they don't want to be a part of what you're doing. And all of you are in the same boat, really, because you've all been shitted on by the same people. So, I mean, what are you separating yourself from and saying, like, that's going to, like, one way is going to get you some, like, the Caribbean blacks, they've taken out, they've trying to go to the international courts and get reparations from England and France and Spain and all these other countries that had slaves on their islands, and they still kick up to them. And nothing's been done.
Yeah.
There's never answer to that. And it's the same thing as in America. They won't answer to that here.
I'm looking now at the history of reparations payments. Now, the first one that was made was in 1952. Germany paid $822 million to Holocaust survivors. So who it got paid to was the German Jewish settlement. Then in 1971, you had $1 billion and 44 million acres of land went to the Alaskan Natives land settlement. 1980, the USA paid $81 million to the Klamaths of Oregon. Then in 1985, they paid out 3 times. They paid out $105 million to the Sioux of North Dakota. They paid out $12 million to the Seminoles of Florida, and $31 million to the Chippewas of Wisconsin. Then in 1986, they paid out $32 million based on the 1839 treaty to Ottawas of Michigan. 1988 was Canada. They paid $230 million to Japanese Canadians. 1988 again, Canada paid 250,000 square miles of land to Indians and Eskimos. Damn, that's a lot of damn land. 1990 was Austria. They paid $25 million to Holocaust survivors. That was the Jewish claims of Austria. And the last reparations payment was 1990 by the USA, $1.6 billion, or $20,000 each, to Japanese Americans. So if that's the history right there, and you're right, there has not been a black country, whatever country you want to call. I saw Eskimos, I saw various tribes, and obviously the Holocaust survivors, from different countries. But black people, no, none of the countries. So what does that tell people? Should tell you a lot, actually. When you read through the Constitution, it's pretty damn clear. Now, this argument has always been brought up. When you read the Constitution, and they had to get permission, to get the Constitution ratified. Like, there was treaties in place. Like, yeah, they came here and they bogarted, some of the indigenous, but they had to get approval from the people who actually, own this land, at the time. And, from what I've been told, it was basically the Moors, the indigenous. So the founding fathers actually just had permission to write up this Constitution. But even with that being said, if people were still 3/5 of a person, then who were black people then? Because the Moors were obviously, who we would call black, right? So then there had to be a hierarchy of some sort where, the Moors are actual people, and then the people who were slaves, they weren't counted as people. That's obvious. The Constitution was written that way. So these people, the European people that came here and, ratified the Constitution, it's obvious that there was a hierarchy going on. So here we are today, 300 years later, whatever, and black people are still in the same place. that you could look at all of the wealthiest black people in the world, but specifically in America. You could look at them and say there's only a handful. So the from what I read, the wealthiest white man has more wealth than all of the black people combined. All of the all the different billionaires that you've heard of, they still don't equal 1% of the richest white person's wealth. One, and there's a lot of them that are actually billionaires. You got whole families that's just what they are. They just wealthy. They have resources, and people have been walking around with cash. Oh, of course, they came from. Well, I'm not going to leave that out. They came off the backs of the people that they oppressed. Of course. Yeah. And war. They deboed a lot of stuff, but over the course of these years, people are still in the same place. Like, okay, you have countries that are holding real resources, gold, silver, aluminum, platinum, whatever. They have that, and over here we using paper that says it's a debt note. And then the way society is moving, they trying to move away from cash. So then, what is actually the paper money worth? We give it value. That's why you have all these different monetary systems all over the world. The yen, for example. Just in general. I don't know. I mean, if you could just print up money that is really not worth anything, but you don't have actual resources, then what do you have to fall back on? So, black people, we come from, I don't know. I've been having these debates online. I've really been trying to get people on board with the whole idea that, you know what? At the minimum, we need to go back to the basics and just, we are a human race, and, the oldest bones in the history of mankind was found, in Africa. So, what was called Africa later. So that should tell you something. So the oldest person, it was a black person, quote unquote. So the Caucasian species wasn't birthed for 1,000 years later and some change, and up in the mountains in Africa. So if we birthed them, then how did it become that we all of a sudden became this separate group of people when we was all one people? So people had to, they created their caste system and the hierarchy, and people have been running with it ever since. And now when you present that argument like, there is no race. You got people arguing you down, trying to tell you what it is. I'm like, I don't want to hear that bullshit. Let's keep it 100. Let's keep it factual. There's only one race. It's just a bunch of nationalities and cultures and customs, and obviously ideologies, based on religion. So if you want to separate people it's big business. Well, then they've been doing it forever. Come on, it's since the beginning of the time.
Business. But it's been big business ever since. It's big business.
Have you run into the educated fools, my brother? You ran into a few of them, right? Yeah, the educated ones. They'll fucking tell you that, I've been to this school, been to that school, but if you that smart and you don't see the game, then how smart are you? You see we all separated. People will tell you, black people need to come together. There's fucking whole Caucasian nations. They're not together. Shit. You telling people to get out and vote. The fucking Asian vote is super low, but yet they control their own communities. So what does voting have to do with controlling your own community? If you ask an Asian, obviously nothing, right? But then, they did get reparations.
But don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. In their community, they still have their own councilmen.
Absolutely.
They still have their own things in there that they may not come out and be like, but in their area, you won't see a black councilman, you won't see a Hispanic or a white councilman. You'll see another Asian as their councilman. That's who's, in charge.
That's at the local level. They voted their person. They have a representation.
They put their peoples in the local level to make sure to provide that buffer for the things that they want in their area and the things, the demands that they want and get seen and get done. You know what I'm saying? So that's we said it before. Like you go to you can be in New York and Chinatown. You'll see maybe a couple of, you may see, a few black cops. You may see some whites. You may see some Hispanic.
Mm-hmm.
But the majority of the police that patrol that area are Asian. Because why? Because if you're not from that, if you're not Asian, you don't understand their language.
You don't understand the whole culture either.
Exactly.
And how many people outside of that culture actually live in Chinatown? So it's like they're homogenous on a deep level. Like they control their community. Their businesses are in Chinatown, or that's what they call those areas. And you can't rent an apartment there. I don't give a shit how much money you got and you black.
Yeah,
You're not getting an apartment in Chinatown.
Mm-mm.
So there's a reason for that. But do they come out and vote?
Unless you're with an Asian.
Unless you're with an Asian. Well, then
who has the pull to say they vouching for you or some shit like that.
Right, they vouch. Right.
The same thing, but it's the same thing in the Jewish neighborhoods. You're not renting nothing in their buildings. You're not renting nothing in their area of town. You're not going to do that. They don't care who you are now. You ain't coming in here.
Right.
It's for us. You know what I mean?
Now, how is their voting power?
It's an unwritten rule. Well, they get that once again. They know that once again they do the same thing. They control their area. They get their people in those positions, in councilmen or whatever positions in the city, to even mayors. They get, senates. They push them along. Same thing, and they push their agenda. It's the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
But nobody's beating you in the head about them, especially the Asians.
They don't, but because they're gonna take care of their own. That's how they live. They're gonna take care of their own. Both of those groups, you Asians and Jewish people, they're gonna take care of their own. They're gonna make sure they're good. They're gonna make sure they vote their own people in. They don't care if they don't know them. They ain't reading nothing. They don't care. They like, yo, such and such from up around the way.
Mm-hmm.
He running. Oh, we all gotta go out and vote. Get out voting. Early vote. Whatever they do, they
do that. No doubt.
They're gonna get it in, and they and fill the box for them. And that's who's gonna be in charge of their area, their community, the funds that come into their area, and the businesses that come into the area. Gotta go through those people. And guess what? Those people got to answer to the people that help put them in there. And if they do something they don't like, they're gonna get rid of them. They'll put somebody else new there. That's how it works for them.
That's how it works. So with all of that said, how do black people come out of their face to say, oh, all right, go rush the polls. All right, we rush in the polls and we vote, but we still not. We can't tip an election.
Because
we can't.
Why? Because you take the 100% of black people and their votes. 25% is over here doing Republican shit. 25% over here maybe doing independent shit. 25 over here like, fuck it, I don't even vote. I don't give a fuck. And then you got 25 that just die hard. We gonna vote Democrat.
All day, no matter what.
No matter what, and the votes are all split up. So now, if you get a white candidate or a Hispanic candidate in those neighborhoods, and they're like, oh, they're independent. So now you're going to get those 25% independent. You're definitely going to get that percentage of the vote. Now you just have to convince another 25% and to ride with you to get 50% of that vote. Now it's the heads or tails. Now it's like, yo, you can win the area. You know what I'm saying? Because if you can just get a few of those who say they don't give a fuck to vote, that'll turn the tide for you. And you can, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Our vote is all divided up. Because once again, there's no unity with us. You know what I'm saying? There's no commitment. You know what I'm saying, on things. So it's like when it's time to move as a unit, we find all kind of ways to argue about why you shouldn't do that and this and that, like, and to show that you're so, like that's a thing you see a lot with black people. They want to show, oh, I'm just not the average black person. I'm like, what's the average black person? Like, what the fuck is
let
that?
me know.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Let me
I
know what
would
that
like to
is.
know.
Like every, like they want to, like everybody got a point to prove about why, showing what they do, and it's like, no, the goal is for us to move as a unit and to have an agenda. If you don't move as a unit and have an agenda, then that's why nobody gives a fuck. They're not gonna. You can say that you hear it all the time. Nobody gives a fuck about you unless you care about yourself. Until if you got 100% of your people and 25% are segregated, chopped up into percentages and doing different shit from the whole, then guess what? You're divided now. You're all separated. You got people everywhere doing their own thing, and then it's back to you living, every man for themselves style. Like that's how they've taught you. So they've broken up everything that you have. They've broken up your families. They've broken up everything that they've given you has been in pieces. So you don't know shit. And a lot of people who feel like they reading a couple books and they know shit. You're not implementing the shit the right way to make the shit
and
work.
that goes back to your earlier point when you saying that the local, like the Asians, they put their people in local politics and they control their community. We don't do that, and even when we do put somebody in there, what happens?
When you do get a you can't even trust them motherfuckers. They do all kind of shiesty shit. You put it in, then they start telling you, no, I can't do that just for black people. But meanwhile, everybody else is taking care of their own. But black people always got to come in so that they not gonna do. No, we're not gonna do that just for black people because we're fair for everybody. We're all. I'm like, what? You never had nobody else say
Kamala
that
Harris
shit.
said that. She said that on, during the interview. Well, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm only going to do something just for black people. Anything that benefits black people will benefit all of society. That sounds like affirmative action. And affirmative action, as quiet as it's kept, the biggest recipient of that was Caucasian women. But, I guess that's moot right now. But if you're not going to do anything specifically for black people, that's telling you in your face, and that's why I said online, that's gangster. I respect her gangster for people that can come out and say that shit. Like, we know that it's an unwritten rule, but she came out and said it.
But you can say that shit because the people looking at you are so desperate and want symbolism that they let that shit fly. That's what they want. Black people are all about symbolism. They want to look good, want to drive the nice thing, want Chinese shit, want to make everybody think you make an impression of yourself. And having us say, oh, we had a black president. Okay. Now you're saying, now you're trying to make history again, and once again, what did it do?
But history. What is it? Right. But this has been done before, right? 1952, we had a vice president candidate that was a black woman. But it's just history. This is not the first time that it's being done. I mean, I get it though.
But I get it. But when you don't know your history, then how many people you think know that in 1952 or even look that up? That's what I'm saying. They just run with whatever's given to them. The people just run with whatever's given to them. And black people are the most gullible people. They run with everything. They always, like, people were so into their feelings last week about her being nominated and taken now as his candidate for VP. You had you looked all over your timeline, wherever you was at, you seen it all sectioned. It was divided up. Some people are like, I'm gonna just have to wait and see. Some people are like, yo, I'm all in. Gotta get them. Gotta get this. Gotta get him out. Some people is like, fuck out of here. I'm not fucking with her. She, her record and his record. I'm good. Then you got the independents who like, well, I'm just gonna write in shit. So, well, again, 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%. Shit all cut up, bro. Shit all cut up.
1952, and her name was Charlotte Bass. In case, people do want to do some little research. And Shirley Chisholm actually ran for president. And Fulani ran in 92 as an independent candidate. So we've been, groundbreaking for a while. But, considering the fact that what does that I don't know. I don't know what groundbreaking is. Like, you could show your face as a candidate, but are you people going to – you can never have enough black people to galvanize behind one person because there's not enough of us numerically, you know, and that the 2016 election showed a lot of people that. Like we said 2 weeks ago, 98% of the people, black people, voted for Hillary Clinton, but you know there was a bunch of white women, you know, in the 50% that voted for Trump, and they the ones that tipped the election. Obama got elected. We came out and voted.
They didn't tip shit because it was based on the electoral colleges.
That's what I'm saying. Like they was going.
Won. Like
Hillary won, yeah, vote-wise.
So all that shit is rhetoric. Like that shit is all rhetoric. Like it's all fucking rhetoric. Like what are you saying? Like I mean, that shit had nothing to do with anything. She won the vote. The people said she should be president. Right. And she still lost. So what do people get about that shit? And people are still beating you in the head with the same shit.
About like popular vote, right?
Every 4 years, no matter if you tell them the same shit, like, look, man, she won. That had nothing to do with motherfuckers not coming out. People came out and she won. She fucking won the popular vote. Gore won the popular vote.
Word.
But at the end of the day,
now they just passed.
They took the shit from them because the fucking Democrats is weak.
Right.
So like the people that you're getting behind are just setting you up because they're weak. They've shown every time they will buckle to the Republicans every time. They've buckled every time. They refuse to fight for what they believe that they candidate won. Why? Because they know. That's why they buckle. Because they know the Electoral College has spoken, and there's nothing you can do about that shit.
Well, what do you feel about the new law that the Supreme Court passed that there's 31 states that actually fell under this? They must go with the voters. So if you win the popular vote in that state, those states are obligated by law, by Supreme Court law, to cast that vote for that candidate. Now, they didn't have this in 2016, you know, because this just passed, you know, recently. So 31 states are now obligated to do that. Now, that's big because so that lets you know that they wasn't obligated before. That's half of the state. They wasn't obligated to do that. Yeah. So what does that tell people? They weren't obligated to go with what the people said.
Well,
so everybody in your state could have did that.
If you in 31 states, then it's big for you. Then you need to show up.
I'm going to list the 31 states. You know, I'm going to do that online. You know, I'm going to do that. Just post the 31 states where, yo, you know what? Y'all need to come the fuck out and vote in them states if you want to see what the Electoral College can do. But, however, remember, there's 50, I mean, how many states are there? Damn, 52. 52. So that's 21 states that they still could be like, man, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? And now, once I find out what they are,
it all comes down to who those states are. And if
I know, and how many electors they have. Yeah. That's right.
So,
that's right.
I mean, so then you still, once again, it's no cohesiveness. It's not on the same page. You know what I'm saying?
How come the Supreme Court couldn't say everybody do that shit?
Because then you have
all y'all.
Well, because I would love to see the list because I want to know how many of those states on there are Commonwealth states.
Ooh, that's a big word, brother. Commonwealth, you're killing them right now.
How many of those shits on there? Because you know they normally have the right to do whatever they want to do. So.
Right. So break down because you know some people have no idea that you know Pennsylvania is a Commonwealth.
It's a Commonwealth.
Virginia is a Commonwealth.
But if you notice, a lot of these states and those are all lock you up states.
They ain't playing.
They don't play that shit. They make their own fucking rules. Yes. There's
a few Commonwealth states.
There's a few Commonwealth states.
Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Kentucky. You know, shit. There's a few more. I mean, they just do what they want to do, basically. I'm trying to look at the list here. We mentioned these four. Oh, well, I know it's those in particular. Those are the main ones. Virginia, and there's, heavy population. Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Kentucky. Those are the straight up Commonwealth.
Well, that's because they use. Yeah. That's because they still use the word Commonwealth to describe their state. Those are the main four because they use that word. They use the title Commonwealth to describe their state. So those two, but I mean, once again,
did you know that most of them were all British colonies? Did you know that?
If you go down, if you look down, I think maybe except for, I'm not sure about Kentucky, but I know at Virginia, Massachusetts, and Pennsylvania. Yeah, not sure about Kentucky.
I mean, just even across the nation, that have Commonwealth nations, and a lot of them are under rule. It's just crazy. But just staying in the United States, like these are, like Pennsylvania was huge in the 2016 election. You know what I'm saying? Massachusetts is always going to be huge, no doubt about it. And Virginia, please, like Virginia is another world. You and I have been to Virginia, so but. Virginia, I'll take you down to Williamsburg. I'll take you back in the time warp. It'll look like it's the fucking 1700s down there, depending on where you go. Colonial, Williamsburg. Like we got all of this stuff right here in our face, and you have so many divided people. And yes, black people are big on symbolism, and reparations have not been paid because, you know what? When it's all said and done, we're from all over the place. And then the biggest thing is we are all one people, but the divide and conquer been in play for centuries. So, people are telling us to run out and go vote, which is not a bad thing if you know the game of voting, especially at the local level. But, when at the end of the day, when you look at presidential elections, it really comes down to the Electoral College. And in the local voting, the Asians, they run their spot. Jews run their spot. You know what I mean? Like, they ain't, you don't hear them talking. They ain't out there, go vote. Like, they got local control of where they live. So the federal level don't really affect the local level. I mean, yes, funds trickle down. Don't get me wrong. Like, money gets passed out, based on a zip code. However, the local level is where your power can be because that's where you reside. So until you show me a black community, like a real one that's not, damaged, and I'm not talking about the anomalies where, you got one in Maryland and shit like that. There's a Chinatown in every major city. Even though everybody's not from China, they call that shit Chinatown for a reason. China do own a lot of shit. They own a lot of land here.
Yeah, I mean,
they don't want a lot of shit, period. You could look in your kitchen and look at your damn forks and shit like that. A lot of them is from China.
I mean, that's just a separate. That's what I'm saying. Like, Levy was separate and everything. I mean, they separate. It's a lot of issues amongst our own. So, and you can't get nowhere until you get that cleared up. Like, because.
Well, how do we do that if we keep putting people in at the local level who flip-flop? Like, they telling you what the unwritten rule is. I can't do nothing specifically for you, but if I pass this bill, it'll take care of you. Well, why you can't do nothing specifically for me? Like, come out and say that shit. Come out and say why.
But if
tell me. Tell the people.
I mean, and you don't see, like, all these people that you, there's in there. I don't on like her, or for instance, Harris. What did her birth certificate say?
Well, her mother listed her as Caucasian because her mother views herself as Caucasian. And if when people from India, when they come here, especially when they came, in the wave, 1950s, 1960s, then they were listed as Caucasian, on the census. Like, that just came, they were listed as white. I mean, that's just what it is. Like they're not the only ones. I mean, shit, Italians just became white. You know what I mean? They ain't been white that long. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just facts. Like a lot of them.
They
recruited
them.
Yeah,
they recruited them.
Yeah, you know why? They needed numbers.
Exactly. It's the numbers game.
So you going, hey, we need you, yo, we going to make them white, and then, because we got a bunch of quote-unquote minorities who are actually the majority of the people, but they so separated. If you got Indians coming here thinking that they're white, like, and they darker, some of them is darker than you and me, you know, and just like, how do you consider yourself white? So if I tell somebody, yo, I'm a white person in reality, you know, legally, I'm a free white person. They looking at you like, how? So you ain't saying shit to them Indians. You ain't saying nothing to them. They telling you straight like that. So if I put that shit, you know, once you put it down, you know, on your birth certificate, you can amend different things. I mean, you put it on, you know, her mom says she was Caucasian. Now, what's on Harris' birth certificate is irrelevant. But she'll tell you right now, like, my parents, you know, are Indian. They migrated from India. Even her father, who is, he's Jamaican, but they migrated from India. Okay? His lineage will trace back to India. You know what I mean? Like, so, because we, black people, were all over the world. You know, so that's why I said, you know, we leave the color game out of it. We just got to deal on a human level, but nobody wants to be human. Everybody wants to be this and be that.
The color of your skin is how you get into that office, because you can't be. It's like you can't be a full-fledged black. You know what I mean? You can't be full-fledged Negro. You understand?
I've yet to see that.
You can be full-fledged. You can be full-fledged Negro for Senate, House, Representative, Mayor, Governor, but you can't be a full-fledged to say no. Your shit where just say no. You not biracial. You not Kenyan and white. You not Indian and white. You not Indian and black. You whatever. So you can use it with multicultural shit. You can't. I want to see a person say I'm just straight. I'm just a Negro. You know what I'm saying? You want
to see John Jackson. You know
exactly.
What I mean?
I want to see.
President John Jackson.
Yeah, I don't want to hear all this. You know, I'm multiracial and all that shit. Nah. You know, because that's cold talk to me.
Right.
That's cold talk.
Joseph Bookman.
So it's like you ain't, you know, because then you get away with. Because see how we watch the game, you seeing how it's played. You watch the game and you seeing now like, oh well, they can't say, well, I'm gonna just do it because, well, I'm also white, so I can't just leave out my white or my.
But Indian you're not. You know, it's not. That's the part that fucks me up because.
So that's what I'm saying though. That's how they playing the game, because they can't give you. Because now if you put a person in there, if you put a person in there that's, you know, for instance, Stacey Abrams, she's straight black. She's a black woman.
Right.
There's no mix or nothing. Ain't no mix in
there. Right.
My daddy black, my mama black, my whole family lineage say Negro.
Right.
Nah, you can't do that because they know in the end game, in her heart to heart, she gonna have to feel her people. Most definitely. You gonna feel your people. You got these. If they multicultural, it's like you got to easy out. No, I got to do for everybody because I got a white family, I got an Indian family, I'm multicultural.
You can do for everybody, but let's pass something specifically for this group. The same way that you pass for every other group, you could pass something for black people, but they can't, and they don't.
You can't even get motherfucking rich entertainers to do shit for their own communities. Why? Because they got that money and was told to turn their back. You look back, you could give out turkeys and shit, But you can't be out there doing other shit.
Right.
You can't be out there saying, you know what, fuck that. I want to buy my project back. I want all that shit. Y'all don't want that shit. Let me buy it.
Right.
You can't do that. You giving hope to niggas. What the fuck wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We laughing, but that shit is real.
Yeah, that shit is real.
That shit is real. Like,
man.
nah, fuck out of here. You giving hope to motherfuckers. We can't allow that shit. Come on, son.
Right.
You know that shit. You do anything that looks like they gonna slap you with something, they're gonna run a scandal at you, and as if you can withstand it. The bottom line. You know what I mean? That's the bottom line. And those that want to still play the game with them, they gotta bow down. Those that don't, they get blackballed. I hope you made enough money to live off of. That's just how it goes. You know what I'm saying? Look, I mean, Kirk Hodges, you know, he stepped the bush.
Craig Hodges, yeah.
But he stepped the bush like, yo, what's up? What you gonna do for my people? Let's look at this Secret Service. Get this motherfucker out of here.
Right. You know you slipping notes in my pocket. Like,
you know what I'm saying? Who are you? I only talk to Michael and Magic. I don't talk to the sideline help. You know what I'm saying? Get out of here.
Yo, I'm sitting here and I'm bugging right now, like, because the USA, like I said, in 1971, the reparations, it gave 44 million acres of land. How many fucking acres are here in the United States then?
Son, it's still land that's empty.
I know. So how big is this shit? They gave out 44 million acres.
Like, all the people they got more people in Brooklyn than they got in most states in the Midwest and up north and going north.
I mean, the inhabitable parts.
They gave out 44 in Brooklyn in like 2 states probably. They probably got more people in Brooklyn than they got, and they got more people in New York City than they do in about 5 states.
Oh, no doubt.
In the Midwest.
Legally, on paper, we supposedly have 9 million here, legally. But in reality, we got closer to 16 million that live in the city. Like, that's fact.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, but I'm just saying, 44 million acres, dog? Come on, man. Like, that's light. I'm talking about inhabitable land, though. It ain't like, like the mountains that run 2 states. Like, no, this is 44 million of inhabitable land, and that's what they gave away.
But they didn't give that shit to them. That was their shit.
I know it was theirs. I'm saying that they gave them reparations and said, here, you can have this shit back. You know what I mean? Like 44 million.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So they going to tell you, they looking at it like, okay, how they going to give you reparations? You never owned this land.
Right.
You didn't own it just like we own it. They train them, and they thinking, because some of them may know the history, but some of them may not. But in their mind, they like, we brought you here. They don't know nothing about motherfuckers already being here.
How ignorant do you have to be to know that there was people here that own shit?
No, but I mean,
that's crazy.
What I'm saying to you is that they knew Indians were here, but they think those are Indians are red people. They didn't realize Indians was just dark. It was black too.
Yeah.
So they were here. Black people was here.
Yeah, we've been here. We everywhere.
But what I'm saying to you is that that's not they thinking. They thinking that we brought you here. So if we give you a raise, the only thing we can do is give you is basically give you a plane ticket back to Africa. Like, but motherfucker.
Yeah, and like I said, man, Hey, I'm still in Great Britain, brother. Like I went back. I'm 900 years removed, from the United. I'm talking from America. Like it's 700 years. I go back. My family was here already. 700. So that's before Columbus. So fuck him. Okay, so I went back a little further. I went back 200 more years. I'm still in Great Britain. I ain't touched Africa yet. So shit. I'm motherfucking American. Like I ain't come here on no motherfucking boat. Some of my family did. Yeah, obviously some of my lineage, but the majority of them was already fucking here. So before the boats, before the slave ships, rather, before there was a slave trade, which is big business, because it's not just people anymore. You know, it's not black people. It's all races fell under the slave trade, and now they peddling children now. You know, and they always peddle children. That's the first person they take from you. That's how they break your spirit. They take your child. You know, like they doing wicked shit. But with all of that being said, that shit, you know, like we just fucked up. So, so take note of that, people. Like a black in America, reparations is not happening if you don't play the game.
Have to call and to get that, you're gonna
the
have
legal
to stop
game.
saying you're gonna have to stop saying you're African American. That's the first thing you're gonna have to
That's
stop
facts.
saying.
I mean, that would help. You know,
you're gonna have to stop saying you're African
naming
American.
yourself after some misnomer that somebody made up, or African American. We all from Africa, motherfucker. Everybody.
Well, that's what they have on Kamala Harris. She's Indian American. Like what that? I'm like, huh?
Yeah, because she was born in California. I mean, but her family, her lineage is from India. I get it.
So
but we all originated from Africa. Everybody. So, I mean, yo, what the fuck?
Listen.
I'm just saying. Yeah, she's Indian American. I know. Her family's from India. They came here. They had her in California. I get it. But show me an African American lineage. Yeah, because I'm still waiting for. I'm not talking about people that was born in Africa and that's where they family lineage is. Like they never. You could trace their shit back to where they are on that particular continent. Okay, I'm telling you, I dug in my history. I'm damn near 1,000 years back, and I ain't nowhere near Africa. That's just me. You know what I mean? Like that shit is crazy. So a motherfucker tell me go back to where I'm from here, motherfucker. You go back to where you came from, wherever that is, Europe, Spain. Well, that is Spain. You know, Russia, wherever the fuck you from. You go back there. You know, people are so, what's the word, arrogant. They're like, oh, go back to where you came from. Motherfucker, you from Poland. How dare you talk to me like that? You know what? Get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like you got a lot of damn nerve to be telling people, you look at a person, or go back to where you came from. You know where I'm from? By the way you looked at me? I mean, if Italians originated in Africa, Guinea, y'all African. Italians is African. If you want to, really start breaking shit down. But, I mean, I don't know. But the people is all over the place. That's all I'm saying. It's a lot of emotions. All right, we have the symbolic vice president who looks like us. Okay, she went to HBCU, all of that. Okay, great. Good. Now what? How do you flip the electoral college? I'm going to definitely look up those states that have to follow the electoral college and look at the other states who don't, and which we know that the Commonwealth probably ain't included in those 31 states. We know that. And then we got to count up the electoral college votes in the states that don't have to follow what the Supreme Court said, since they only chose 31. Because it's supposed to be good faith.
Those may be the 31 that wanted it, though, Those
are the 31 that wanted it, yeah. So the other shit, the other ones are like, nah, we ain't doing that. It's a good faith practice. That's what they doing. So, because they supposed to do this. They supposed to do a lot of shit, and they don't do it. You supposed to be getting a motherfucking stimulus check. Did you get that yet? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just, throwing random stuff out there. They playing the game right now. A real bad one, too. But who's the pawn? The people. The people.
You ain't getting shit.
You ain't getting shit.
What I said, I told you this 3-4 months ago. American people, American government they hate the American people. They ain't done, they want to suck them dry, son. They want to suck the American people dry.
Regardless of race, they're going to suck you dry.
But you're going to run out there. You're going to run out there and vote. And don't have nothing on the table. But that's a whole nother story, man.
That's a whole other subject because the agenda, first of all, you got to change your language.
Let's talk about
the language is the legal language. Like, you can't call yourself black and expect to get something. They telling you that in your face. I'm not doing nothing specifically for black people. Wow. Okay. I'm not offended because I'm not black. I don't give a fuck. But I understand what that means legally. Because I'm not walking around hurt or, black people don't get nothing. You can't have that type of attitude. You better start digging in some books so you can leave a legacy. Because it ain't us that's getting fucked up. It's our kids and their kids. Because they the ones that are going to have to change shit around like, yo, hold up. They going to have to go into the Constitution. Motherfuckers walk around with the Constitution in their pocket. Like the people that's really serious about their shit, they ain't getting pulled. When they get pulled over, they pulling that shit right out. According to this, section blah, 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 blah. Why are you stopping me? What did you have? They asking you questions. They interrogating motherfucking police, as they should. Mm-hmm. What is your purpose? Reasonable suspicion, reasonable doubt. I think it's suspicion now. I mean, we took all that shit when we was in college. Like, we knew when they would start changing the wording and, all right, they need a reason to stop you. Because they, all right, so what's your purpose? To lock people up, take away the 13th Amendment, and get some free labor. And, I was watching that Netflix shit, the Innocence Files. That shit took me on another level, Rob. That shit took me to a place I didn't want to be. You motherfuckers is doing 25 years in a state that didn't have a compensation program for when you got out. It wasn't mandatory. They don't have a compensation plan. Dude did 28 joints in a Pennsylvania jail, came out, and not entitled to a dime because he was in Pennsylvania, one of the states that don't have a compensation program. Now, if he went federal, the federal government, if he was in a federal prison, that's different. Then they could, they can have a reparations, I could say reparations, an agreement that they can give you money for being wrongly convicted. But if you get locked up in the wrong state, you could be up in there 25 years, they got free labor, and they ain't got to pay you shit. And that's what people are not really looking at. And so when I saw that Innocence File, I was like, yo, hold up. He ain't getting no bread, 28 years, wrongly convicted. They railroaded him, no dough. And we just looking at people's record, they prosecutorial misconduct. Oh, that ain't no big deal. We just got to get Trump out. Yo, don't fucking talk to me. If you don't understand how serious that shit is, somebody be locked up and they don't get no compensation. That's straight up slavery. And then they got all these private prisons out here that they got to keep filled up. Come on, man. Like, this shit is way bigger than fucking Trump, man. Like, look at the big picture. That shit affects your life. I was looking at their family like, wow, 28 joints. And they really fought to get him out. And they, he had 4 appeals, man. 4. Dude is 49 when he got out. 49. He was like 19 when he went in. 19, 20. Came out. He ain't even do the shit. They broke it down, but, it's like crazy to me, man. So I put those states up. You know what that shit yielded? Radio silence. Nobody could say shit because they saw where I was going with it. Yo, you got to look at the criminal justice system, and you got to look at the Constitution. You got to put that shit together. You got to look at the history of this country. And you brought up the great point, because I'm sitting here thinking like, yeah, surely, somebody got some reparations, right? But the Indians, quote unquote, the indigenous Indians, they're not black. Like, they're indigenous. They have a tribe. It's Eskimo or Seminole or Chippewa. Like, they're a nation within a nation. You know what I mean? So I don't know. We at a tough ass crossroads, and then you just got people that do want to vote, and they businessmen. Trump has not been bad to them. I mean, he does.
But what I was saying months ago. Black people too emotional. This is a business. Everything they do is about business. This shit is business, man.
Business, right.
Business. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it ain't personal.
It ain't personal. This shit is business. And motherfuckers, the black people, they every time they get emotional. That's why I was like last week. I just sat there and just watched all these people wailing. I'm kicking you, I'm cutting people off on my time. I'm be talking about
word,
Kamala
unfollow,
Harris.
block.
I'm like, yo, y'all really doing the most. She ain't said shit yet that has swayed me to say, yeah, I can fuck with you. Like, all you keep hearing is, fuck, they got to get this dude, they got to get this person now. And we sounding desperate. Like, we desperate. Like,
right.
Like, come on, man. Like,
they appeased you. They appeased you. They gave you your black vice president candidate that you signed a petition for to get. Now what? Go out and vote. Are the white women going to vote for Biden? Because that's who you need.
But that's another thing. So that's another thing I had to think about. So she has an assistant now. That's like one of she's down with the BLM, with the Black Lives Matter movement.
That's her chief of staff.
How is that going to play out?
That's her chief of staff.
Okay, but how is that going to play out for votes, though?
How is it going to play out? Because, the other side of the equation has said that Black Lives Matter, the organization, is a terrorist group.
Yeah. So how is that going to play out?
I don't know.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, how is that? Like, to me, I still see signs of people doing shit that say they trying to lose or they not trying to win.
My mother said that.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
as soon as she picked Harris, my mother said they threw the election right there.
Yeah, because I'm like, I told you that before. I was like, I don't think that's a good thing to do, because I knew this was going to happen. People were going to be divided. You got to remember, the same black people when she was trying to run for president, they were already split 50-50. You had the 50 that was with her, then you had the other 50 like, hell no, I ain't fucking with her at all. And they ran her up out of that shit because black people, they was just going hard. All of a sudden, here she goes back in, boom, she's in the game again. How you get back in the game again like that, sir? Like, who you? Like, you jump back in the game after most people, black people, wasn't fucking with you. Now, the same black people that was killing her is telling everybody to vote for her. We can work with her. Work with her? Fuck you mean we can work with her? Like, what did she said that made you think that we can work with her? Like, what is he said that make you think that we can work with him? Every time I hear Joe Biden, all I hear is an old man fucking up words. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I mean, even when he's congratulating him last night, he's talking about he's calling I'm married to Mr. Biden. What? Your wife is Mr. What? Like, dude is confused. Like, just totally fucking lost. Like, what the fuck is going on? It's like you in the Twilight Zone and people are not reading the signs. Like, yo, what the fuck is going on?
No, people are seeing the signs, like, because he gonna have to step down on some 25th Amendment shit, and they're gonna have to swear in the vice president to run this country.
Man, so they not fucking with her.
I know.
They're not gonna. There's no way. Yo, I'm telling you, that's why they going all out. But if they so desperate and want to go all out for the vote, then they need to put some real live options on the table for us. Some real live shit on the table, and then in those 31 states, then that the popular vote matter, you gotta go hard for that shit. Then
you do.
You know what I'm saying?
You really do.
But you gotta have something on the fucking table, bro. Like, we want to hear something. We don't want to hear this shit. So the first thing you show up is, where's our vaccine at? Nah, that's the wrong fucking answer. That's the wrong question. That's the wrong fucking question right there. I can't do nothing. I'm doing a win for black people is a win for everybody. That's another wrong answer right there. That's like saying, when we say black lives, you talking about all lives. Fuck out of here. We don't want to hear that shit. That's basically what you said to me. That's where I don't want to hear that shit. If a win for black people is a win for everybody, fuck out of here. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. Because a lot of motherfuckers has been winning, and black people ain't winning. They win ain't equate to our win. Fuck out of here. That's some bullshit. That's some bullshit.
That's facts.
So that's some bullshit. So motherfuckers with all this running around and being all over extra sensitive and shit. This is business. This is business. You know, black women already. Oh, all you black men. Oh, y'all here talking bad about the sister. This is why black women can't get nowhere, because black men ain't shit. You being emotional. That's why we can't get nowhere. This is business. Step away from your emotions and look at the picture. The shit ain't clear. I'm not willing to say I'm backing somebody and they ain't told me shit. Just because you ready to run. Trump ain't changed my life. Trump ain't changed my life. Him being in office ain't changed shit for me. I was just, you know what I'm saying? Him, Obama, none of them motherfuckers changed my shit. I changed my shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't done, y'all motherfuckers, oh, police out here, motherfucker, I'm from the 70s, 80s, 90s. Police been killing niggas. They was killing niggas before I was born. Shit ain't changed, bro. And it ain't gonna change with these two motherfuckers coming in. So what the fuck are you talking about? Yo, we gonna have Supreme Court. It's gonna be 7-2. Yeah.
7-2.
You want to talk about change? You need to change that shit. Then we need to talk about making them change that they can't be on there for life. They need to get voted in too. Like, you know, you want to talk about shit you want to do. You need to talk about changes in this Constitution. That shit outdated.
No
you want
doubt.
to talk about shit? You want to put some shit on the table? Put some shit on the table. Put some shit on the table. We ain't got to no longer. We not no longer renewing your right to vote. It's mandatory. Fuck are you every 20 years, whatever the fuck it is you talking about reviewing? If you gonna give us our right to vote, and you motherfuckers are still out here running talking about we need to vote. You need to vote on that shit. Like, come on.
Right.
Like,
make it an actual amendment instead of an act.
Back, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, like, y'all missing the point. We need, you know, to cut the economical gap. Y'all got to start thinking like a business. Own your own shit. You got to own your own business. These motherfuckers own their own business. They ain't paying no tax. They find a way not to pay these motherfuckers. They write shit off. Don't be mad at Trump because he writing shit off and he got a good-ass accountant or CPA. Got a couple of them motherfuckers making sure none of that shit get back in the hands of Uncle. Because they've been told that shit ain't real. Them motherfuckers ain't no American. They ain't no motherfucking...
They know.
You know what I'm saying? IRS and other motherfuckers, they not part of the government. They a private entity. They getting money for free. Why are we going to give y'all our money?
Right.
You know? But let a black, when Wesley Snipes tried that shit, his ass was, why? Because he started talking that black shit. Oh, no, you talking that more and you this and that. Fuck out of here now. You go to jail.
Right. And it was a clear line. There's tax evasion and there's tax avoidance. Tax avoidance is legal. Tax evasion is a crime. Yeah. So they said that his ass was evading tax. Like, you know, avoiding tax is doing things legally to, you know, there goes that word again, legally within the law to reduce the amount that you have to pay. So people that make millions of dollars, you also need to write off hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know, to reduce that debt. I mean, that's pure math.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you arguing, we arguing over the we ready to sell our you ready to sell your vote because you hate one person so bad. That's emotion. That's not smart. That puts you in that's when they you know they got you because you in a desperate situation. You so bad you want to see something going, you'll do anything. That's not smart. When has that ever been smart? That's not a smart move. That's not a smart move. You holding the chips. Ask for your shit. Yo, you fucking with us or not? Like, you know, all this cold shit you've been talking. A vote for me, you ain't black. Well, guess what? You don't get to tell us who's black and who's not. That's so, you know, that's null and void. Cut the bullshit. Answer the questions. You know, like you know, or Spanish people is more diverse than black people. Another cold talk. Saying, oh, basically, so you're basically telling them, come with us. We're going to leave those niggas behind. You join our ship, we'll cater to you because you're more diverse. They're not. They're confused and lost. We just laugh at them. Come on and get money with us. Cold talk, man. It's a lot of cold talk going on. And a lot of motherfuckers is emotional. You seeing everybody quoting what they got. Yeah, I'm a psychologist and I'm dissing. All that shit, what has it done, man? You helping your people? Help your people because they need you to help them with these mental issues. We got a lot of issues. We got a lot of mental issues. We got a lot of trauma. We got a lot of shit going on with us. You motherfuckers always want to cite what you doing and how you doing it, but you ain't doing nothing for your peoples. You know, but then you want to get on and tell everybody what they need to do because this is that. Oh, now you right. Now we supposed to just up and believe you. Come on, man. With that emotional shit. This ain't emotions, man. This is business. You got to think about business. And that's how you going to get this, you know, cut this economic gap. You got to stop spending your money with them motherfuckers. That get their attention quicker than any fucking thing. We not spending no money with you. How many times we said that, son? How many times have we said that?
More times than I can count.
Have your own business. Spend with your own kind. They'll notice it real quick. Oh, we not going to McDonald's, but we going to go to this burger spot over here because it's black owned, or, you know what I'm saying? Or this is a small business right here. We're going to support the small business. We're not going to support you big corporations who not doing shit for our communities. Okay, that's how you hurt them. All this rhetoric and running around and getting mad and talking about this, or you're not going to diss Kamala. And, man, what are you talking about? You and her is not friends. She don't give a fuck about you. You just a vote. That's it. You and her ain't friends, none of that shit.
Oh, well, some of them are Soros.
Whatever, man. All that shit ain't gonna hold nothing, no. That shit all means nothing, man. All that, Soros. How was that? That shit didn't help her when she was running for president, when she was trying to get nominated for president. You know why? Because nobody gave a shit. Because even them Soros know they couldn't trust you. They don't trust you neither. Come on, man. Son, you know what I'm saying? This is all poly tricks. This is all lies and poly tricks. They just fucking with you know what I'm saying? Smoking mirror shit, man. So, and the people always do the same shit. Get hype. Get hype like they gotta win. Symbols. Oh, it's a good look. No, fuck the look. We want the business. We want the money. We want the money, man. We want the fucking paper. We want the gold. We want the silver. We want assets. That's what we want.
There you go.
All this shit. We don't want this shit. We don't want you painting black lives in the middle of the fucking street. Fuck that. Sell that paint and get that, cash that money in. Put some shit in our hoods. Put some real shit in our hoods then. The same amount of hours and time you put that shit on the street, you could have put that money, invested that shit in the hood, and opened up a store or something that could have and done something with it. Come on, man. Stop looking for symbolism and start looking for facts and start looking for shit that's real. Hold these motherfuckers accountable. Like, hold them accountable. Don't just be on here trying to sell yourself on some hoe shit. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers straight on some hoe shit. That's why I put that shit up the other day. Because you out here acting like hoes. These motherfuckers treating you like they pimp, like you they bitch. They the pimp. Come on.
Word.
You not black enough if you don't vote for me. That's some pimp shit. Fuck out of here. Who the fuck
he got a lot of balls to say that shit.
Exactly. Like, wait. Like that shit was downright disrespectful. Like, wait. Fuck out of here, man. You talking out the side of your fucking mouth. Come on, man. Like you gotta get checked for that. You gotta get checked for that. You know what I mean? Like, come on. You gotta get checked for that shit, bro. I mean, so, you know, man, we just doing what we do, bro. You know.
Well, I mean, as business owners, you know, we just, I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna go out and vote, but I just wanted to put all that stuff
Yeah,
out
I
there.
mean, we're going to vote. Of course we're going to vote, but we know how to vote. We know how to use our
Yeah,
vote
we do. We know how to vote.
in a
That's true.
strategic matter that's going to benefit us and our peoples in our communities. We not out here just voting because we looking for a symbolism. We looking for them facts. We looking for somebody that can answer the tough questions and deliver. You know, that's why I said we got to start building our own black candidates and putting them in. You want to make it an independent party, then fine, but you got to build that. You got to build those candidates. You got to get them. You got to get them in, starting off getting them in council, starting off getting them in the education department, starting off getting them, then moving up to mayor, then moving up from mayor to governor, the senator's position, and making noise and making changes in your state, in your communities and shit. That's the change. That's what you're gonna do. That's how you're gonna hurt the game. You can build. You can get in the game and change the game if you got your people in the game. But as long as we keep with this 25% quarter divide shit, and we all over the fucking place, we can't get nothing done because the rhetoric is just so fucking stupid. Like everybody's saying dumb shit. People are just saying shit and don't understand. You know, like that shit you're saying is not true. The shit that you're saying is not basic, is not facts. Like you keep hearing black people saying, "Oh, a vote for independent is a vote for Trump." Once again, if it's not from them 31 states, say that shit for the people in them 31 states. That's
word. I'm gonna have to dig because I got to put it out there. Like, okay, this is where the election falls on. And then I read the wording. You know, it says that they may require. Well, basically what they're saying is that if they don't vote as a faithless elector, you don't follow the people, they can fine that state. You know, basically. So they talking about fines and shit. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't understand what the Supreme Court tried to do. But what I want for first thing I need to do is find out what states are required to do so. And you know, because you got to look at there are some states like. I think it was California. I forgot the example. I want to. They have the same amount of people in the Senate, but California has 55 electoral votes, and the other one has like 10. You know, or some crazy shit like that. But they got the same amount of people in the Senate. You know what I mean? So they you know, you got to know how to play, you know, the electoral college game anyway. But I guess, all right, before we go, like, real quick, the Portland and the Lakers, I mean, there's a lot of games going on, you know, but I think that was the most intriguing series before it even started. Like, once I knew Portland got the 8th seed, it was just something about that matchup, you know, for me, you know, to see Melo, Dame, C.J. McCullough, and Nurkic, you know, finally he's back, and Hassan Whiteside, you know, like, yo, the 7-footers, yo, they was huge, man. Now, even the Lakers, they got 7-footers. You know, Anthony Davis, Dwight Howard, McGee. Like, just to see them all on the floor at the same time, it looked kind of bugged out, but it was necessary. You saw how a big man who protects the rim could change the game, you know, because the matchup, like LeBron could have took Gary Trent Jr. anytime he wanted to. Melo, you know, yeah, you got to be a little more strategic with him, but they got 7-footers behind them. 2, legit. You know what I mean? So, you know, plus, you know, the Lakers, they shot a lot. They shot a lot of bricks. Like, they was down early, you know, because they was bricking. And, you know, Portland, you know, they just hung around. They first of all, they was up like 14, 16 points. And they did, you know, it faded away. But I think the Lakers are in trouble because if Anthony Davis is going to do that, in which he normally does, you know what I mean? Like, that's what he does in the playoffs. You know, he's been more efficient against other teams, but, you know, he's in L.A. now. You know, you had 28 points, but you had 21 in the first, but it wasn't a strong 21. You know what I mean? He got a lot of free throws. You know, there was a lot, you know, like he wasn't scoring from the field. Like, he wasn't dominating. You know what I mean? LeBron had great numbers, but he didn't dominate. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we've always said that. Like, but a great backcourt, and if you have a great backcourt and the other team don't, you in the game. I don't give a fuck who you playing. Yeah, McCollum and Lillard show you that. They in the
Well,
game.
I think they're gonna make adjustments. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm thinking the Lakers are gonna play. They'll probably play Dion Waiters and R and JR a little more to give them better, bigger bodies on the guards, and at least they, So I think I mean, it's on Vogel though. You know what I'm saying?
He's horrible coach, man.
This is where it's separate. This is where you're gonna separate the coaches. This is where you separate real coaches. You know what I'm saying? It comes down to him. He got to make the good decisions and things like that. So
yeah, his rotation is fucked up. Like he don't. But we talking about Vogel. Like I mean, I don't. But hey, that's who they chose.
I think Portland has a shot, but I don't think that's what they. We'll see.
What do you mean? You don't think that's what the league want? I feel you. The league may want a lot of shit, but here's the bottom line: is this a great backcourt? Because it's wide open. But then hey, the Clippers, the Clippers is still there. I watched them. The Clippers is tough. They haven't hit their stride yet, but
I think I'm not. I mean, they deep. They deep.
Clippers is deep.
Yeah, the Clippers is
they
deep.
got the better of the Morris twins. Yeah, for George,
they deep,
Kawhi,
but at the end of the day, they
Lou.
still don't look in sync.
They don't.
You know what I'm saying? And that's
they don't look in sync. You're right about that.
Just like Milwaukee.
Portland,
Milwaukee's not in sync.
Milwaukee looks bugged out, man.
Well,
Milwaukee, they do, man.
I mean, that's the thing, right? If they go through the regular season with no interruption, they straight because they in mode. They ready to go. You know what I'm saying?
They was rolling.
They played the whole season. They was rolling. Now you stop, take 4 months off. You want them to come back, come in the bubble, concentrate, try to pick. They got to get that whole momentum back. And it's hard to get that shit back because you've been gone for so long, and now you're trying to come back and play meaningful games in like 8 games. It's tough.
Yeah, to finish out your CBA.
Yeah,
right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's tough. I mean, come on. It's been some good. It's been decent good. It's pretty. I'm not gonna say decent. It's been really pretty good basketball from what I've seen. I've really been watching only really the Portland games for Lillard.
Yeah, I only saw 2 games. So. Yeah.
But I've seen a couple of halves here and there for certain teams. I was watching the first game with the Clippers and the Mavericks.
I saw the fourth quarter of that.
I thought that KP getting fouled, getting the technical, and getting put out.
I tuned in after that, so I had missed that.
I'm a Knicks fan, so fuck him. It's all good. Fuck that. You'll be all right.
But Dallas they're not beating the Clippers. What I found out?
But the Clippers were right for the picking. They could have lost if he stayed in the game.
They could have lost, no doubt. But we'll flip the whole script? Remember they was talking about that seeding shit, regardless of conference? That shit went out the window. Now they doing Western Conference, Eastern Conference. Lakers ain't going to the finals. I can tell you that right now. The other way, they was talking about that when the bubble was first being proposed to open. They was talking about this seeding the teams because they didn't know who was going to come. And they was talking about 1 to 16. Yeah, regardless of conference. I was like, oh shit. So the Lakers would be 1. They would play basically the 16, whoever that was, probably from the Eastern Conference. Orlando. They'd have played down. I was like, yo, hold up. That's how they gonna do it? So then over time, they started getting it together. Then over the right before they started, I saw that they went to Eastern Conference, Western Conference. So if they went back to that format, like the Lakers is not coming out of the West. Like that's not gonna happen. I mean, barring injury, of course. With all things being considered. And you see, Portland is not a regular 8 seed. That's not an 8 seed team. When you really think about it. But I mean, that's what they are right now. But you are what your record says you are. But that's a dangerous 8 seed. Even if they get through this, then they still gotta. The Clippers is waiting. It's just I don't know, man. I don't see them coming out of there. Milwaukee, I thought like before the shutdown, I would have Milwaukee or Boston, but now Boston, I think Hayward sprained his ankle. He's supposed to be out, 3 weeks or something. I don't know who the hell's gonna come out of the East. I don't know. Miami's good. I mean, as far as unity, Butler is actually holding that team together. Man, they look all right. But Boston, Miami, Milwaukee, and Toronto. I mean, those are the same four teams. Basically. So Toronto, can Toronto come back? Who knows? I mean, you never know. But one thing's for sure, I don't see the Lakers coming out the West. I mean, that's just facts. And they definitely ain't coming out the West if only LeBron and AD gonna carry them, because the rest of them cats, they a wash. I really watch like Kuzma. Like I liked them last year. I like this energy, and all of that. But now the lights is on and it's like real games. They mean something. That jolly shit, like he a jolly player. That shit don't work, man. Like it just don't work. Like flopping around,
Oh shit!
What happened? Yeah, but that's the grumpy men. We out of here. Peace.